Most of you gathered here have been touched in some way by my father, Leonard Pelly. When I say touched, it also means I mean being whacked or punched in the shoulder. Those who have experienced this know exactly what I'm talking about. Leonard Pelly, or more fondly known as Leo, was the sixth of 7 children of Mr. Pelly and Miss Annie George. His father was an estate manager, taught his children at a very young age the importance of prayer and always keeping Christ the center of their lives. This practice is something that my father carried out even after their passing, every single day of their life. Being one of the youngest of 7 siblings, and with your eldest brother being the strict, prim and proper Christopher Pelly, you can imagine how life was for my father. Daddy, on the other hand, was quite the opposite. For those of you who may not know, Christopher Pelly was the teacher in Kajang High School, a discipline teacher. To say that this was a living nightmare for my father was an understatement. Daddy would tell us stories about how he used to run away from home and go missing for hours because he would be up to no good with his friends, playing cricket or to take part in football tournaments without his father's permission, of course. He would also run off and go fishing with the other children in the estate. Growing up, Daddy enjoyed playing cricket, football, and hockey. Games were a big part of his life, which he excelled in. Then, when Daddy finished school, he decided to join the seminary. The years in the seminary enhanced his faith and knowledge and further shaped his character to be what most of you know and have experienced today. This is also when he became friends with many priests and fellow seminarians. This bond continued until his final hours. His priest friends have always been his family, his check and balance. He holds a very special place for each one of them in his heart, especially Bishop Sebastian, Bishop Selva, Father Nathan, Father Marshall, Father Michael Sinapan, Father Justus, Brother Pius, just to name a few, as well as his fellow seminarians James Chan, John Liu, and Michael Ting. When my mother was in labor in hospital, the late Father Joe Pereira was there to give my father moral support. My father. The nurses brought me out to meet my father and passed me to the man pacing up and down the corridor nervously. That was Father Joe, saying, "Congratulations, you have a daughter." While my actual cool cat father was sitting down calmly on the wheelchair he had found nearby, laughing cheekily at what he had just witnessed. My sister was even named after Father Joe. She always says that she's the favorite person. At times, when Mom was busy, Daddy had 2 babysitters. His assistant would be Father Joe. Father Joe and Daddy took us to the movies, to watch movies like Dennis the Menace. He also took us together with our friends to Father Nathan's farm to fish and spend time with Orang Asli. The church has always been the center of his life. Daddy was an active member of the church, along with his buddies Uncle Robert Tan, Victor Tuan, and his brother Christopher Pelly. It was really the glory days of Holy Family Church. What did Daddy do with the knowledge he acquired in the seminary? He taught catechism. A few batches of confirmation students have experienced his eccentric teaching methods, which many of you today can confirm were effective. Daddy was also in charge of the altar boys. He would teach them what to do during Mass and to appreciate and respect the sanctity of the Eucharist. On weekends, it was a norm to see his students polishing and cleaning the church. Siva, Simon, David, Marcel, Adele, Lenny, Francis, Ruben Chen, and gang were all common features in our home and church. My father was a strong-willed, principled, kind, and generous. He never faltered. He expressed his opinions openly and very loudly. He knew something to be true. If he knew something to be true and correct, there was no changing his mind. After leaving the seminary, my father worked as a journalist for the Star newspaper. He had a flair with words. He loved covering criminal cases, one of which was the ever-famous Botak Chin, the New Age Robin Hood. This was also where he met the love of his life, and I mean that in every sense of the word. He used to see this fiery, young, beautiful lawyer in a sari in the criminal courts, and he has been hooked to her ever since. Chico and I always tease our mom that she pulled off the biggest con on him, as she no longer wears saris to work and she is most comfortable in shorts and t-shirt. Daddy was a HR director for JVC for many years, always conscious of the livelihoods of the people he was responsible for. Over the years, despite having retired, he kept in touch with most of them and their families. Over the last 2 months, many of his staff came over with their children to see him. They were so happy to see him and he took comfort in knowing that they were all doing well. Anyone who knew my dad knew his love for food. That is how he expressed his love. Our home was always open to anyone and no one was left hungry. After Mass on Sunday, family gatherings at the palace almost always included my father's pork vindaloo, mutton curry, shark puttu, saltfish curry, and yes, he would make all of this. He loved feeding his siblings, nephews, and nieces. On Fridays, most of his siblings would cook vegetarian. He would secretly make plans with his nephews and nieces and take them out for a fully non-veg meal, followed by a major tani session. Daddy enjoyed his meal dates with Jerry DeCruz and gang, trying out new places to eat, controversial conversations that kept the fire in him burning. Due to medical reasons, Daddy was unable to cook like before. That was never a problem, as his younger sister Auntie Maggie and helper Manike Akka continued to cook for him amazing meals which he enjoyed. He always looked forward to his Tuesdays and Fridays at Auntie Maggie's place, where he would just hang out with his siblings, nephews and nieces, and enjoy a fantastic lunch, come home and have his siesta. Leo was also a wonderful son-in-law. He never said no to any request from my grandparents and took care of my mother's younger siblings as his own. Bradneys, Pua, Mahes, Yogesh and Param were pampered with food, and that continued to their children and ours. Shreya and Nikhil were pampered with Uncle Leo's fried rice and would often wake up to their favorite wonton mee and char siu pao. Lara and Myra eat char kway, Declan nasi lemak. Chico and I had chichong fun. And yes, all of these would be on our dining table at the same time. He always made an effort to take note of each and everyone's favorite dish with no expense spared. Yesterday, I read a message from someone who knew my father and the many lives that he touched. To be honest, my mother, sister and I, unless told by that person themselves, we would usually never know what my father has done to help anyone. He would always say, if you're going to help someone, just do it. There is no need for any sandiwara or for anyone to know, and that included us. If anyone wronged him, he would just stay away from that person and not talk about it. There was no need for anyone else to know but him. My father's three most precious treasures would be his three grandchildren, Declan, Lara, and Myra, our little Miss Hurricane. My kids would always tell me that their papa would always tell them to pray and talk to their guardian angels who will see them through everything in their lives. It was the main value that he instilled in them from the very beginning. And this is how they will always remember him. I am glad that he got to spend a lot of time with Lara and Declan. Knowing their love for science, he would talk to Declan about the various topics and Google matters on the subject to read together. He would entertain Lara and Myra's stories and noise, which most of you know he's not a big fan of. Over the MCO, when we were all under lockdown, we were blessed to know that my father had made two friends, Asha and Arvind. They have ever since been a huge part of our lives, and he officially welcomed them into the family. They never complained about driving my father around, accompanying him on weekends so that he would not feel bored at home, entertaining him with stories, satisfying all his cravings, and buying Magnum ice cream and Chinese food. Wait, I'm not done. Daddy was also an amazing father-in-law. You can tell when friends and family check on how Colin and Siva are handling things, especially when Daddy was ill. They really gave him comfort and kept him entertained with jokes that only they found funny most of the time, but he tolerated it. Siva enjoyed many good meals with my father, and Colin was always his confidant and his medical advisor. He was blessed. My mother, sister, and I cannot put into words what so many of you have done for my father, especially during these last 2 months. He loved making trips to see his brother Christopher, Pelly, and Auntie Phyllis the most. He loved and respected his brother with all his heart. Thank you to all my aunties, Agnes, Celia, Maggie, Tessie, Uncle John, Uncle Edwin, Uncle Kutan, for coming every day to pray and be with Daddy. You made caring for him easy. To his favorite niece, Adele, thank you for showering my father with so much of love and affection, and for always keeping him moisturized. Thank you to his doctors, Datin Dr. Shamila and Dr. Dharma, for always keeping a watchful eye on him. We really had peace of mind. On behalf of my mother and my sister and our family, thank you everyone for keeping my father in your daily prayers. Many of you have received his daily prayers. Every day he would message in his WhatsApp groups. He is in a better place and a much peaceful place, watching over us, united again with his parents, Uncle Jaya, Father Joe, and his in-laws. Thank you for the flowers, the cards, texts, calls, well wishes. We appreciate it all. Thank you.